Hey guys, welcome back to Empowering Real Talk. It is your girl, Coach K, and I am back with another amazing session. Before we get started, you know the drill. If you have not done so by this point, I need you to go ahead and hit subscribe. If you see my beautiful face here on the Upgraded Mindsets Media channel, but if you are listening audio wise, then make sure you have favorited Empowering Real Talk on whatever streaming platform that you're checking it out on. All right. So if you see that I'm not here by myself, I'm going to allow my guest the honors of introducing himself. Hello, hello.
Hi, Coach K. Hi, everyone. My name is Andy Audate. Super excited to be on this episode. And a little bit of background about me. I hail from the East Coast. I live on the West Coast today, and I run a global software company. And in our company, we help small entrepreneurs and business owners generate leads, create sales appointments, and close more business.
Hey, I absolutely love it. If you are an entrepreneur checking out this episode, then you definitely want to make sure that you stay tuned for the entire message because Andy has got some gems to drop. So, Andy, again, thank you so much for being here. I'm super excited to dig into some things with you. I just would love to hear a little bit about your backstory. One, how you got started and what put you in the mindset shift to be who you are today.
Well, I started selling. What initially got me started in selling and creating revenue and running these enterprises
Mhm.
is that I wanted some sneakers. I wanted the Nike Air Forces, the ones with the mid top, with the swoosh with the Velcro on top. When I was 10 years old or so, and my dad couldn't afford it, and
Mm.
I said I want them so bad. The girls in the sixth grade, when I was in sixth grade, the girls are gonna love me because
Right.
I have those specific sneakers, and my dad couldn't afford it, so I realized I had to go get it myself. So it cost $160 at the time to go get those sneakers, and I started shoveling snow in
Mm.
Rhode Island to go ahead and start generating that income, and that's what started planting the seeds in my brain, saying that it's possible for you to make your own money,
Yes.
and from there I built multiple businesses and so forth, acquired
Hey,
businesses, things of that nature.
I love it. I love it. I love how you even went back to the age of 10, right? A lot of us don't even remember 10 years old as far as that, but your mindset shift really kind of happened back at 10 years old. You like, hey, I want these shoes. I'm going to get these shoes, and I love that you went at it by all means necessary. When you made that shift for yourself, and let's just say, did you get the shoes? Were the shoes acquired at that time?
I got the shoes in 2018. So
Okay.
I got the shoes later, and the reason why is because I ended up making the money, like it was like $160. So I ended
Mhm.
up making the money, but I remember I was ironing the money on my bed, and I looked at the money and I said, "Man, I worked so hard for this money. There's no way I can just go spend it on $160 on a shoe." And I think
Mm.
that's what the lesson that I learned from my parents were in that scenario. I can't just go spend the money frivolously. It doesn't grow on trees. I actually had to work for it. So I didn't buy it until I had a sentimental reason to buy it, which was in 2018. I was sneaker shopping and I remember seeing it and I was like, "Oh shoot, I remember that experience. Yeah, I'm gonna buy it just for the heck of it." And
Just for the heck of it.
I bought it, and but the journey so far has been planted from that one experience. So today we run multiple businesses, we coach hundreds of entrepreneurs in our coaching program, and then through our social media, help thousands of entrepreneurs essentially create results inside of their business.
Right, right. And it's easy to say that I know that that particular instance put you in the mindset of like, I want to help others be able to do the same thing and how that works for them. You know what I'm saying? So I
Yeah.
know that that definitely was like a key factor, right? So what do you think like with key mindset shifts that individuals need to make to achieve like that personal goal for themselves? Because that personal goal for your shoes, but then also to create the entrepreneurial enterprises that you've made, what do you think is like some of the key mindset shifts in the beginning?
So in the beginning journey, so like for example, one of the things that I've done uh, is I declared in 2014. So that was my first business. So I went from like trying to sell sneakers. I sold everything under the hood in high school. So we're talking about sneakers, candy, whatever you could sell, laptops,
Hey,
phones, things of that nature,
hustle,
right?
hustle. I love it.
So did that hustle. Then I transitioned and I worked for a gentleman. And in this gentleman's business, he had a partnership with T-Mobile. And T-Mobile, for most people who don't know, this is it's a franchise, and you can
Mhm.
franchise it. So I franchised T-Mobile at 19 years old. And
Nice.
so I worked for a gentleman, and then T-Mobile acquired a company called Metro PCS back then.
Mm-hmm.
And there was an opportunity to partner with T-Mobile and start opening up these Metro PCS stores. And I jumped on the bandwagon, took advantage of that opportunity early on, and I opened up. I had 4 brands with them, 4 locations, 4 stores.
Nice.
And so I started off being the youngest T-Mobile franchise. And in that journey, the first thing that I declared was I wanted to make 6 figures.
Mm.
So I passed the 6-figure a month mark. And then I said, I want to make my first million. And then I remember writing down $1 million. This was December 31st, 2014. And I was on my kiosk and I said, December 31st, what do I want for the new year? Whatever I write down right now will come true for the next year. And it was one, I remember writing it down, and I on a small piece of paper, post-it note, put it in my wallet, and had it there. In that scenario, I wrote down $1 million. A year later, I went through trials and tribulations, challenges, uh, big risk. I remember just being 20 years old, and I had a lease. I had a lease from one of my locations, and it was $16,000 a month per
Mm.
location. Per location this was in the mall, in one of the prominent malls in Rhode Island.
Okay.
And I had the food court. So the lesson that I'm sharing with you is to think big and take a risk.
Yes.
So I took the food court location, and they were like, "Hey, Andy, we could put you down here on the side in the corner. It's gonna be cheaper." And I said, "No, I want to go big. I declare something big." So they said, "Hey, Andy, to have this location is gonna be $16,000 a month." I said, "Sheesh, sign me up." And I remember walking into the lease manager's office, and I said, "You know what? Give me that contract right now before I walk away, because I might walk away." And then I took
Right,
the
right.
contract, signed it. Business was so good in that location that I opened up a second location right in front of the Apple store, because I was selling cell phones. So I opened up a kiosk right in front of the Apple store in the same mall. So I had one on the 3rd floor, and then I had another one on the 1st floor, getting all the traffic from Apple. And that was another 16 grand. So I'm 20 years old, paying $32,000 a month. That was my first business. I'm
Come
in over
on.
my head. It felt like, but then I hit my
Yeah.
target, right?
Yeah.
Because so you got to take big risks. I ended up hitting my target, made my first $1 million, and then from there I traveled around the country with motivational speakers like Les Brown, doing seminars, events, promotions, and speaking engagements. So my journey has always been about taking risks, thinking
Yeah.
big, and getting in uncomfortable opportunities.
Yeah. Man, let me tell you something. That story is so inspirational because it is about taking risk. We are so defaulted to want to stay comfortable in our journeys, but yet and still the ones that want to stay comfortable are the ones that are always complaining and talking about they don't have things and they can't get these things, right? So it's really involved with taking those risks. And some risks may not even work out, right? We just have to be mindful, but I call losses lessons. I don't call them losses and I don't call them failures. It's always going to be a lesson, whether it's a successful one or if it's not a successful one. And I'm pretty sure that you have had some of those along the way. Hey, you making millions. So I know that there's been, some flaws, but with regards to that, I know you don't have a problem with bouncing back and you don't let it deter you and keep you down and you don't harp on the lessons. You know what I'm saying?
Well, the lessons are teachers, right? So I get to
Yes.
learn from those experiences. I've had a lot of losses, and when it comes to business and growth, from financially to partnerships to even relationships. So it those are not losses. I would say those are lessons, and the
Absolutely.
lessons, the more lessons you accumulate, the more blessings you accumulate.
You better say it again, Andy. I love it. I love it. Let me ask you, how do you balance like the personal growth with the demands of your growing businesses? Because I'm definitely gonna put a plural on that. So how do you kind of balance that as you go?
How do I balance like personal growth, like growing
Yeah, your
personally?
growth, yeah, your personal growth aligned with the business growth. Like how do you kind of balance them?
They're synonymous. They're both on the same. They're both on the same. And what I want to do personally is equal to what I want to do on the business. There's no separation. It's very harmonious. So
Yeah,
the partner that I have in my relationship, I was not in a scenario that my wife was not involved in the business or doesn't care for, is not part of. She's part of. The people that are around me are part of my business. We make money together. We experience wins together. We like next week. A lot of my staff today is in the Philippines or international. We have team members in the United States. We have team
yeah,
members in Philippines, Mexico. We have team members in Pakistan, all over the world. And our ELT, executive leadership team, happens to be in the Philippines. So like next week, I'm going to be traveling out to Manila, Philippines. But my personal life, I want to travel. Right? I want to go around travel. I want to go meet with people. I want to go try these different experiences. But I also am doing it for work as well. So
yeah.
there's there's synonymous there. In order to grow my business, I need to travel, so I get to experience that benefit of seeing the world.
I love that. I love that. And I just was actually going to say that too, like making sure that those personal values are aligned. Like you have the values of wanting to travel the world and do what it is that you have to do. So guess what? You're going to say, hey, I'm going to travel with my business as well. Do you see in your experiences, because you have worked with like thousands of small businesses, do you see where sometimes businesses are not aligned personal wise with it when it comes to the things that they want for their business? And do you see a disconnect?
Yeah, tremendously. And I've seen where entrepreneurs are doing this just for the money, just to pay the bills.
Mhm.
Where I'm in a mastermind, for example, and in this mastermind, you gotta, it's a top of the, it's an elite group. Just
Yeah.
to even enter the mastermind, you got to make $1 million, and you got to show financials with your accountant that you do. So
Right.
we all know everyone's verified in this specific mastermind, and I can see some of the folks in this mastermind who say, "Hey, I don't like my business. I'm just doing it just to pay the bills. Terrible business. I hate it, and it's a lot of complaints around it, right?" And then I could also see where other people who enjoy their business, where they're like, "I'm on fire for my business. Why? Because I'm living my life's mission through it, through my
Yes.
business." So you gotta be able to make a point of it, of like, hey, when you decide to choose entrepreneurship, when you decide to choose business, are you doing it just for the money, or is there something much bigger beyond that? In December of this year, well, a couple of years ago,
Mhm.
the my team in the Philippines, what I did, I remember one day, this is a spiritual thing.
Yeah.
I followed in my bank account system. I followed Profit First by Mike McAllowitz. It's a cash management strategy for small businesses. The idea is simple: you create a bunch of different business bank accounts, and you label one of them as your profit account, and you put the money in your profit account first, and then you operate your business with the rest,
Right.
forcing your business to be profitable. So it's a strategy on how to manage money. And one of my accounts is called God's Money, and which is the money that I use to tithe and
Right.
and
Right.
and and do good work in the world. And one day I had this idea where I shared with my team. I said, "Hey, look, I got this extra money. I can donate it to our church and so forth. Let me ask you this question: would you like to do a charity?" And my team was like, "Yes, we'd love to do a charity." So we got together, and we fed, I think it was like 50, maybe 60 families, and it took a big team to get together.
Yeah.
And I got the video back. I wasn't there. I got the video back. And when I got that video, I just started bawling. I started crying. I started realizing that, hey, my company is able to do more. And it was a
Yeah.
small group. It was a
Right.
small group.
Right.
So
Big
last
impact
year,
though.
last year we fed 300 families.
Let's go.
This year in December, we're on track to do 1,000 families. In December,
Fantastic.
this December, I think 15th or 16th of this year, 1,000 families. But my long-term vision is to share with 10,000 families. The value of that I'm sharing with you is I look at my business and I say, hey, there's a connection with my results here, that there's people that's depending on me. So if you're an entrepreneur, you're listening to this, I would ask you this question: in your business, is there people depending on you, or do you just sell a product and a service just to make money for yourself? Is there something bigger that you're implementing inside of your business?
Oh my God. That is the question that I pretty much ask every client, every potential client that comes through these doors, because you have to have purpose. There has to be a purpose behind it. And that is an amazing purpose. Like, super shout out to you for actually even implementing that, and the fact that it's continuously growing. There has to be purpose in regards to anything that you're doing. And that's just the way you're going to elevate. That is, you have the mindset of wanting to not only, but your blessings are coming because of what you do, Andy. And we
Yes.
both know that. But a lot of times people are in it for just the money. And I love that you said that people complain because they're not in it for the right reasons. Now, are they profiting? They probably are. I literally was at a keynote speaker yesterday, and I had a lady tell me that she literally shut a business down because she hated it. She was profiting in this business, but she hated it so much it was affecting her mental well-being, and she shut it down exclusively for that reason. So I've say that because it's important for you to also have the purpose aligned with the business growth and elevation that you're trying to make. I think that that's super important. When it comes to like the balancing of your short term, because I want to get into like what it is that you do in a little more detail. And I know that you do with marketing and stuff like that. So how do you kind of determine with client base, short term versus if you can help them on a short term level, long term level? Do you kind of differentiate those two? How does that work?
if on their short-term targets versus their long-term targets,
Yeah.
the first thing that you got to identify is what is your long-term target, and that's what I'll share with them. What is their long-term target? Why are they creating that in the first place? Why are they creating this business? Because once you determine your long-term target, you can then reverse engineer what your short-term target is. So, for example, uh, before you identify what you want to do this quarter, you want to identify what your 10-year vision for your business and your life looks like. So what does 3,650 days from now look like for you in your life? Think wild, think big, think astronomical, think uncomfortable. Then you're going to reverse engineer down to the 3-year mark. Identify what the next 3 years to be on track for your 10-year goal.
Yeah.
You're gonna identify what does the next 3 years look like. And then from the 3-year target, identify what the next 12 months looks like to be on track for your 3-year target. And then from the next 12 months, you break it down to quarterly and monthly goals and monthly targets. So, for example, if you notice, for the people who are watching this live or watching the replay of this, on my name, it says 100msas.com, $100 million SaaS. So that's what we're creating. Someone who's Black, coming from an impoverished area. I have yet to see another gentleman who's Black from an impoverished area be in technology and create $100 million business.
Let's go.
But the way that I'm doing that is not by myself. I've partnered with other people. So 4 weeks ago, I had a mastermind here. And in my business, I sell software. And so I had a mastermind in Las Vegas, Nevada, and it was all software sales representatives, right? They own their own software company. And I proposed to them all, it's this closed door mastermind, and they all own their own software business. And I proposed an opportunity to them. I said, hey, we'll give you our processes to help you grow and scale your business. One day in the future, just know I want to give you as much resources to help you grow your business. We have agencies in there that are going to fit $500,000 in monthly recurring revenue inside of their business. Agencies doing $75,000 in monthly recurring revenue. An agency who started not too long ago doing $125,000 in monthly recurring revenue is their target for their business. And I proposed to them all this opportunity. I said, hey, I want to give you as much value as possible. All I ask for is in the future, through reciprocity, I'm going to give you everything up front. In the future, through reciprocity, if I give you a phone call and I say, hey, there's an opportunity to roll up and partner up with my agency, my software company, could we all come together? And everyone looked at me in the room and said, yes. Now, is that going to happen? I don't know.
Right.
However, here I showed them a picture. We took all their revenue, we put it on a board, and I had my team do the calculation of valuation of how much the value of all of us if we all came together. With 22 agencies, we calculated $148 million in valuation in one room with 22 people. And Andy was the leader of that room. So you got $500,000 for one agency, $75,000, $475,000 for one agency. This one specifically does real estate. This other one is working with life coaches, and they're doing $400,000 in revenue. Another one is working with local businesses in Hawaii. So I put all of them together in one room, share with them the process, share with them the opportunity, and present to them an opportunity here. So instead of me, I think the big difference is I decided not to do it alone. I decided to partner up, and that's what's creating $100 million valuation.
I'm telling you, you can't do it alone, people. Any type of growth that you're trying to do, you cannot do that by yourself. You need a team, and you've got to be intentional in knowing who that team is going to be. Andy ain't got just no any and everybody on his team. Okay. He definitely probably did some vetting, making sure that they are qualified, making sure that they are mentally healthy enough to be effective in growing the business as a collective. So I just love that, I'm definitely knowing that those are key factors that you also paid attention to, as well. So coming to a close, like, how do you stay updated with marketing trends, right? Because we know their things are transforming all the time. We see AI is kind of trying to take over, and I use the air quotes, but how do you stay up with like the marketing the trends and technologies in IT, and how do you incorporate them into current strategies?
Well, there's a fundamental principle when you think about marketing. You want to give value up front, create a process to capture data, name, email, phone number, contact, a way to get in contact with your potential customer.
Right.
So whether you're using artificial intelligence, whether you're using landing pages, whether you're using funnels, whether you're using newspapers, the principles stay the same. So as long as you can identify a new way to implement the same principle, then you'll be ahead of the curve.
Love it, love it, love it. Last question I'm gonna have for you. Like, what role does self-discipline play for you in maintaining a successful entrepreneurial mindset?
Your customers, your partners, your team will see where you lack.
Mm.
If they can't trust you to be disciplined in your life, they can't trust you to be disciplined in the partnership and the relationship. So if you see people who are coming to meetings late, if you see people who are constantly having issue, expect that to have happen inside of your life
Absolutely.
and in your partnership. So you want to identify great opportunities with people, and the way to identify those opportunities, you got to see what they're doing in their life. So discipline is very important to me. So one of the things that I do is I get in the cold every day.
Mm,
I invested into a cold plunge, and so in the morning
good.
when I wake up around 3:55 in the morning. I I take my dog out for I put him in the backyard, and I go do breath work and prayer, and then I get up and I jump into the cold. The first thing I do is get super uncomfortable, wake up my body, shock my body, and I say, "Whoa, I'm awake." And then I start my day. So by 4:15, 4:17 a.m., I'm ready to go, and it's like, man, it's as if it's 4 p.m. in the afternoon.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. It's all about getting the discipline daily, establishing those habits because it's just the norm for you now. And I love that. And thank you for sharing that because somebody needed to hear that. All right, Andy, I so appreciate your gems. You dropped some major gems, especially for those on their entrepreneurial journey. I am super appreciative. Please let them know, besides the website, where else can they find you at? What's your socials, all that good stuff?
You can find me at Andy Audate, that's Andy, and last name is Audate on all social media platforms. Andy Audate, Audate on all social media platforms, or AndyAudate.com.
Love it, love it, love it. And all those details will be listed in the podcast description notes. Andy, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to bless Empowering Real Talk and bring just that. I appreciate you so, so much. And y'all know where y'all can find me at Coach K Transforms on all platforms. Definitely go ahead and make sure you are subscribed to the podcast, audio, video, upgraded mindsets media, all that good stuff. I appreciate y'all taking the time out to tune in, getting these fire gems. All right. Make sure that you are elevating yourself. Make sure that you know that mindset is everything. This is where everything begins, every thought, every decision, every choice. And it's time for you to stop taking that lightly. Thanks so much for tuning in. Holla back, y'all.
Thank you, everyone.